Okay, gang. So welcome to week two. The assignment that we have ready for you guys. Um, we're going to give you some time on. We're going to give you all of this week and all of next week to complete it. It's going to take a while, and it's also going to take a lot of analysis in order to complete it correctly. So what we're having you do is we're having you analyze your life and sort of juxtapose it against sort of the life pre-corona lockdown. Also juxtaposed against Aristotle's model of ethics. His model of ethics is sort of a foundation of Western philosophy. It's fascinating, especially his part about friends. So we'll see if he's still right. So Aristotle built his models always on the sense of sort of balance, and you'll have to do the same. So to do this assignment, first you click here. Bada boom. Let's see if we can do this in under 10 minutes. Wow, took you right to it. Oops. Well, you'll go here. Okay, so you'll get another screen that asks you to make a copy. So what you need to do here is, I have made a lecture for you to watch. You need to answer these questions, and when it asks why or why not, I do need you to explain. Okay, I got it. You can go away, pop up. But you need to explain. When I ask you why questions, like what you say doesn't matter. Why you explain, like your explanation is the only thing that matters. It's really the only thing I grade. So you're going to answer all of these pre-lecture questions, and some of them are kind of a doozy there. And I need you to sort of free association answer them. Try not to overthink it too much. Just kind of go with the flow and do what it asks you to do. You'll have to have your phone ready, so have your phone ready. Going through there, ask some opinion questions. Then you come to the lecture. So when you come to the lecture, you want to click it on here. Let's see here. So for you guys, what would be easiest is for you guys to make a split screen where you are splitting your screen between, well, obviously this lecture and the notes that you have to take. The notes are here. What I would ask you to do is sort of Cornell notes fashion. So you're writing sort of your questions or topic statements over here, and then notes and observations on the right. Finally, there's a part down here for summary. There are two questions that I know that I ask in the lecture. I ask you guys questions. I ask you to pause the video during the video and then write for 90 seconds. I'd look for that work down here in summary. Of course, I don't look for it anywhere. Just make sure that you label it really boldly so that I can see that you actually did what I asked you to do. And so this watching video and taking notes will get you ready to do the next part. So again, this is why we gave you 2 weeks to do it, because it's going to take you a minute. So the second one asks you to read this document. You can go ahead and follow the link to that as well. It'll look like this. Oh, see, that's properly coded. All right, and hopefully again your copy of Make a Copy takes less time than mine does. All right, here we are. So I want you to read through this document. It's about Aristotle's notions of friendship. Remember that one of the things we asked you before in sort of the early work was, how has this lockdown affected your friendships? Aristotle's going to ask some deeper questions about the nature of your friendships. Aristotle makes a pretty clear and concise argument that there's only 3 kinds of friends, and you'll need to figure out, well, you'll have to read the document, find out what the 3 kinds of friends are, and then you're going to need to label all of your friends. Maybe some of them aren't actually friends. Anyways, once you read the document and you've done all the labeling, then what you're going to need to do is answer all these questions here. Okay? Then it's going to ask you to create a chart where you are essentially quantifying your kinds of friendships. Are most of your friends vice, utility, or virtue? So you'll make a chart, just a numbers game. I think Orcut made a video. Yes, he did. Put it right there, explaining how to make a chart. And we're still scrolling down because we haven't got to the sort of cumbersome part of all this. Now we get to the hard part. Now, for this part of the assignment, you are going to have to analyze your life for 6 straight days, 24 hours a day. So when you're filling out this chart, you are going essentially hour by hour outlining what you're doing. So it's not everything you're doing. Just pick like the biggest highlight from that hour, or the thing that you had the most agency or choice in, and just put it here, whether it's watched YouTube or I don't know what you guys do. Stared at a wall, I suppose. So Aristotle's notions of choice are all built around like actual action. Involuntary actions don't need to be labeled here. So your body just simply requires 6 hours of sleep a night, right? I've put that at midnight to 6 a.m. If you're awake from midnight to 6 a.m., that's a choice that you made. Like that, there's something there. Like the hours of 12 to 6 are involuntary. You don't get a say in it. So for this one, you never have to label it unless you're awake, because if you're awake, you're making some choices. Now, outside of that, you generally, if you're asleep from midnight to 6 a.m., you can just write sleep, and then you never have to write anything in this box right here. If you are awake, then that's different. But if you sleep in past 6 a.m., you have to label that time. So you just put the activity in this box, and then, as the video explains, Aristotle believes in the 4 causes. Oh, he believes in 4 of everything, by the way, but 4 causes. The reason why you do what you do comes down to 4 obligations. It is either your obligation to your family, like your parents told you had to do it, or an obligation to your friends. You're doing something to maintain your friendships or live up to your friendships. That's 2. 3 is it's an obligation to duty, which means it means an obligation to your school because you're a student, or if you have a job, then your job. So if this is time that is like if you went to work because you have a job, that would just be work. You only have to put one word in this box. It is work, school, friends, family, and self. Well, let's deal with that self one. So if you are for self, Aristotle talks about it's not something you did because you wanted to do it. It's something you did because it was designed to make you a better person. It's an enrichment activity to make you better, to make life more enjoyable, and enjoyable in like the Aristotelian sense, not like enjoyable like I like watching YouTube, so I watched YouTube. These are activities that are about your goals in life and living up to those goals. So when you put self, it's an activity that is designed to make you a better person. It is an action built upon like goals that you have set for yourself and living up to those goals. So that's the 4th category. The 5th category is something that like Aristotle didn't even bother to label because it wouldn't make any sense under his moral philosophy. It's kairos. So the Greeks have 2 words for time. They actually have several, but the 2 big ones are chronos and kairos. Chronos is just like the passage of time. That's seconds and minutes and hours, right? But kairos is the quality of a moment. And so the Greeks do not have there's no phrase I'm wasting my time. The phrase is actually I'm wasting my life. Time was valuable to them. Moments were valuable to them. And so Aristotle, he doesn't have you should waste time staring at YouTube. He would consider that wasting life. So if your activity is just time wasted, write kairos. It's just a moment that you wasted. So that's the labeling you're going to do here. So you do not need to put any involuntary action, and I would have to sort of generally speaking, somebody here always thinks it's hilarious to write that they're going to the bathroom or that's an involuntary act. Like sleep is an involuntary act. You didn't get a choice in it. So you don't need to write down any involuntary acts. Let's say, for example, let's say you go to bed at 9 o'clock. You have to ask yourself, why did you go to bed at 9 o'clock? Did you go to bed at 9 o'clock because your parents told you had to, in which case it would be a family obligation? Did you go to bed at 9 o'clock because you had to get up early to practice band or something? I don't know what you guys do. So you were preparing for an activity, either a school activity, or you just really love to do that, and so you wanted to be, awake, so you went to bed early. That's a choice you made based on a persuasion, right? One of the 4 causes. Did you go to bed at 9 o'clock because you were just staring at a wall and you eventually fell asleep? That's kairos. You were just sort of wasting time. So the activity goes here, and then one word, because in reality, human beings are not as sophisticated as we want to believe that we are. We are not oftentimes duly motivated by anything. So let's say, I don't know, you had you were babysitting here, right? So babysitting let's say you were babysitting your cousins or your brothers or sisters. So that obligation, it is both a family obligation, but let's say you get paid for it. All right, so now it's a job too. Let's say you just are friends with your siblings. So now you have a friend obligation. If you removed one of the obligations, would you still do the activity? So if you get paid by your parents to babysit, it is a job technically, right? But would you still do it if you weren't getting paid? If the answer is no, then it's just a job. You're doing it because you're getting paid. If you weren't getting paid and you still would do it, then it's a family obligation because, the getting paid is just a courtesy. So you only ever have one true motivation for doing something. So if you're in a spot where you don't know if it's one or the other, just think about, if you removed one of the motivations, would you still do the activity, and then just eliminate it that way. So one of 5 words gets written in these categories: family, friend, school, self, or kairos. Remember, self is activities to make you a better person. Some goal you're working towards. Oh my God, we're at 12 minutes. These videos are so long. All right. So you're doing this for 6 days. The 6 days that you do it for, I'm good, whatever. So, you do have 2 weeks to complete this, so choose your 6 days wisely, because there's a lot of analysis questions that come out of this. All right, so you do all your 6 days. Should be the activity here. The reason why you're doing it over here, remember, only one of 5 words goes in this category. I labeled it starting today. If you need to adjust it, that's fine. All right. Now, you have to create another chart, believe it or not, of how your time balanced out. So Aristotle says you should have no kairos, none. And then these categories should all be balanced. It'd be interesting to see if that is the case for you guys. Then there's some analysis of your life before the corona lockdown, and are you taking full advantage of this time? And then it's just some analysis questions. It's not overly complicated, but it does require you to write with explanation. Now, here we go, me being all techie and whatnot. If you think you would give better and complete answers by recording a video like I'm doing right now, I would encourage you to do that. If not, if you would rather do the long form write-out of all the analysis questions, you're fine. If you want to do that, that's fine. If you want to do that on video, that's fine too. Save you some time, but don't let me get in the way of your time-saving choices. All right? So that's it. Bingo, bango. A few pages of writing, and then monitoring your time. Aristotle. So this is going to take us all this week, and then part of next week. You're going to get another assignment in the middle of next week, but I wouldn't worry about it because it's not all that complicated. This stuff is not that hard. If you have any questions, you can always email me. I'm going to put a poll up later. I don't know if you guys are interested in doing a live class. If you are, then I have to get there's a parent permission part of all of this. But if you want to do live classes, we can. I don't know what you guys want to do. I'm getting emails at all times. So if there was a consistent time where I was always getting emails, then I knew you guys were working on this stuff. That would be easier. But some of you are emailing me at 1:30 in the morning. So, probably not that. Anyways, this is the assignment. You have until next Friday. Yeah, that's it. All right. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. Thanks, gang. Sorry it's so long.